Hello, viewers of the internet. Today, I am voiceovering from the future, as the video clip you see now is not actually recorded along with this voiceover, because I messed it up. I messed up the video by losing a audio clip. I'm going to attempt to explain what went on though. I basically built a smallish estate with the engine in the back, and what you're going to see from this point onwards is overall what I've done to the car, and that's kind of self-explanatory. Also, it's my first video in 2K, but I messed up the audio and automation as well, so there's no audio from the game itself. Just bear that in mind. So we should be okay to go. Anyway, without further ado, I'll move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so I have made progress with the car. It looks the same as it always did. The problem is, if you look at the weight down here, 1442 kilos. Now I have upgraded to a more luxurious interior, as you would perhaps have expected me to. However, I'm nowhere near the horsepower of the competition. Even 1444.1, no, sorry, 1441.5 kilograms is more or less the same as the competitor. About 10 kilos below, actually. But yeah, you get the idea. We're only 617 horsepower from a 3 point something V8, 3.3 litre V8 at the moment. Now, it can change, I believe. Maybe I should just go with a massive naturally aspirated lump. That's one way of going about things. But I think seriously, I need to just accept front engine, because the other point I was trying to get onto before I went through the menus, perhaps unnecessarily, 65% rear. And I could just make it a sedan or saloon or whatever you might call it. But I like the estate body, so the only solution I can think is to find a front-engined estate and run with that, because otherwise the weight balance would just be disgraceful. Come to think of it, if these aren't too heavy, just build a luxury saloon. No, I want something more compact. Personally, I'm a fan of more compact body shells. Personally, I could say, ooh, I wonder we could have a key car. Yes. You know what? I'm going to give it a try, because as I said, I'm going to build a track weapon. It's not going to have the 4 seats I wanted, but it's not like that's a requirement at this point, so I can learn to live without it. It's not like the muscle car thing, muscle GT whatever thing, where it had to be a 4-seater. We don't need that. Now, do we want the soft top? I think there's a hard top. Technically, this is the one we want, because this will have all of the stiffness to it. And then I'm going to go with a crazy wide body on it, because this should make it good round corners. It should make it properly good round corners, like you won't believe. Sure, they're only 180s at the moment, but look at that. When I widen them out, I could actually get wider tyres on it. Come on. 285s, front and rear. I'd have to make them slightly narrower, but 275s, just so they're not sticking out. They should be enough, and they are semi-slicks as well. Right, so what do we have in terms of the engine? Does it fit? V8s usually fit quite well in the front, and indeed this is no exception. Perhaps, though, I should go with a V12. I don't know. I don't know how heavy this is. I don't know what the balance it is. It's going to have to vary, quite frankly. And where are we? 59% front, so it's verging on unacceptable. Although, I guess it is all-wheel drive, or it's going to be all-wheel drive. Is it all-wheel drive at the moment? No, it's not. So, 60% front would, yeah, it would be poor for an all-wheel drive car, but it's nothing that you can't tune around. You can probably tune around it, because all-wheel drive will give your car a lot more grip than it would have kind of by default. Okay, so here we have our car. It's changed quite significantly. I actually have another clip I recorded of basically me poodling around and messing with it. I don't think I'm going to include that because I've changed the car since the point so much. There's just no point, really. This is lowered about as much as it'll go on the current suspension. I've actually come up with an interesting experiment just now that I've not tried. So how tall off the ground is this? 204.5. Now, I do have push rod on the front, so I wonder if I go back to what it was, double wishbone, if I can lower it some more. So we'll go on comfort. Maybe just a little. It's not the biggest difference, though, in the world anyway. This is a much, much bigger car, and I'm thinking instead of going with where my original intention was... Oh, actually, double wishbone is a lot better, apparently, for it. But instead of going with where my original intention was... Oh, I don't know, maybe it's just a suspension in general. As I was saying, instead of going where my original intention was, of building kind of a supercar, I'm going to build the ultimate GT car. So what's it on the older setup I had? Pushrod double wishbone. 108.1. Okay, 108... And why have I got a really annoying Kellogg's advert from about 2006 in my head? Something's going wrong. It's the same as that English exam where I had a weird song from the 1970s in my head. It's like my mind works in strange ways. I try and find this information and I just don't quite find it. I instead find something completely unrelated. Anyway, I don't know. That's changing all over the place. But as you'll see, it's doing very well in luxury premium. So I'm thinking instead of hyper, I'm going for luxury premium because that's where it belongs. I'm still going to attempt to compete in terms of performance. Not economy because it's far too heavy for that, but performance, yes. It gets 7 horsepower less from this. This is a 10.2 litre V10 mounted in the back of the vehicle. You'll see it fits quite well actually. Probably because it's such a massive vehicle. It's a Dodge Charger or something I've used for this. And yeah, it's the way to go in my opinion, just a massive non-turbo engine. It's a convertible as well. I just decided I would use a convertible body because I felt like it. I've got a fancier exhaust system as well than a turbo allows you. A turbo sticks you on a cast iron exhaust, whereas this is as fancy as it'll go. It's quite a fancy engine, I will admit, but it isn't a turbocharged engine at that. Now, we do have some nice wheels as it is, but should we change them? Probably not. Well, they're all kinds of weird on it. There's these ones. They look kind of good. What is these? No. They just don't look good at all. Nor do these ones particular. I think I use those on my key car. So... Ooh, look at them! They're like Gran Turismo 4 wheel swaps, where you go in the used wheel dealership. I think these ones, to be honest, they are the ones I just had on it, but they are pretty nice to look at. Why does it take 7 seconds to get to 60, though? Is there something this car isn't telling me? No, something's wrong. It's all-wheel drive with massive tyres and loads of torque and power. There's no way it should be taking 7 seconds to get to 60. Just try changing this. There we go, that's fixed it. So it's 3 seconds now. That sounds about right. Because, yes, it's a complete behemoth and it weighs over 2.2 tons. But I have the power and torque to deal with it, I reckon. It should actually have, I don't know how much torque, but it should be crazy, yeah. Almost as much torque as it's got power. Uber Schnell may have more, but his engine is still not half the size of mine. So, yeah, not to brag, but it's a big engine. So I think I'll go and add some plates. That's going to be our first stage of what to do with this car. They're going to go white on the bumpers like so. Okay, so here I have the car. I have added some chrome strips along the side here and here, and the bottom as well. I've adjusted that slightly to look nicer, I think. I've also changed these to be orange, so they're indicators, and that's about it. Actually, now I think of it though, I could mount this on here. That should work quite well. I've done a similar thing around the back, if you look there. And I think it just goes very nicely to have the kind of handle contained within the chrome strip. I can't really fit a rear diffuser in, it wouldn't work with the design. Anyway, we have our dual clutch transmission. It gets to 60 in under 3 seconds, so it's very, very quick. 15.4 miles to the gallon. Pretty good there as well. What about the actual aerodynamics? Oh dear. Other ATO. Rear wing and front wing. Let's see how good it will be. It doesn't have a lot of front downforce. It has a lot of rear downforce. Okay. I think I want a bit more cooling. And a bit more brake airflow. So, yeah, this is a luxury premium car, by the way. That's where it has decided to sit. What do we want? Comfort. Yeah. So, how is the weight balance? Because I don't think we actually want that much weight on the rear. Yeah. When there's 63% of the weight at the rear, we don't want that much downforce weight acting on it to go with that, because that would just make it really unpredictable. Right, so can we improve the brakes? The car tends to oversteer. Even with all this downforce, it tends to oversteer. You know what, again, I think I've had this same problem before. It claims it tends to oversteer, but it's got 50-50 power distribution. There's no reason on earth this should tend to oversteer. 108.6 here, just check that up. Nope, we don't need open differentials. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to lessen the rear wing angle. It's going to make it oversteer more if anything, but yeah, given the weight balance, it's kind of what I want. So, again, rear wing angle needs to go down a bit. There we go. Similar amount of error on the front and rear. I want slightly more on the rear. That's it though. So I think 33 on the back. Try that. Yes, that seems about correct. So we've got 4.4 kilos more downforce on the rear of the car. Given how kind of overall the tyre and power balance is, that should do a good enough job of it. And yeah, the weight balance as well. So that should collectively do a good enough job of keeping this thing planted. Now, we've got a lot of problems. A lot. The engine bay is full, not that I can do much about that at this stage. Front brake force is high, load capacity is low. Terminally oversteers. Reducing, right. So load capacity is something I could perhaps fix. I'm going to try that. So, load capacity is low. Consider increasing ride height or spring stiffness. Presumably they mean here or something. That actually does improve it though, making it stiffer there. So the car terminally oversteers. Load capacity is still low. Rear brake force is low. Okay. Apparently we need more rear brake force. Are you happy with that? No. Wait, is it saying something about the front brake force is very high, apparently. I think it's to do with a brake balance. The rear brake force is low compared to grip. No, it's going to be like that, I guess. The rear isn't the worst place to have low braking force, though. Oh, actually, I can go and improve this slightly. We don't need the best quality brakes in the world, but some quality improvement would definitely be preferable. Oh, I need to redo this now, don't I? 11.7. They did like it when I did that before. But I don't know, honestly. I don't think I'll mess with it too much. The low capacity is low. Brake force is very high, as it would be. Tends to oversteer. The chosen power distribution seems ineffective. But it's oversteering, so yeah, I'm not going with something that's front-wheel drive bias when the engine's in the back. That's just ridiculous. I think it's ready, so I'm going to export this absolute beast of a car and see if we can beat something which is probably about an entire ton lighter. Yeah, here's for hoping. Okay, so here we have the GT4XJ, and I'm going to see how quick it is. I have turned the ESC off, so there shouldn't be a chance of that getting in the way. And into manual one we go. I've got that right this time. Come on. Oh, dearie me. I began to feel a bit of wheel slip there underneath the car, but up until that point it was pretty good. Actually, we'll slow it into here. It's definitely no key car. It's a lot quicker than that, but it does have a lot of grip. Ooh, come on. Into here. And manual one. Manual one is quite useful. Oh, dearie me. I hope that was nothing major. Because I just felt the back end go, which was surprising since the car was good up until that point. Thankfully, it feels like that was mainly cosmetic damage that has been done to the car. I had to slam on the brakes there, and I think I got out of it again with cosmetic damage, but I don't know for certain. These bumps are really nasty on a car like this. I can only hope a second lap is better. But this lap isn't the worst. I mean, I've not had any really major offs, but I have had a few, like, properly iffy moments, if you see what I mean. Oh, slow it down into first. Yeah, I think the steering is slightly skewed. And that was, thankfully, a curb I could go onto as a last resort escape. Yeah, I am getting round here now. I think I need to be a bit easier on the inputs. Maybe it's turbo lag, because it has got a big old pair of turbos on it. But I'm not respecting that. Ooh. I know that was my fault entirely. Yeah, what have I done? I've destroyed a Maroy. That's what I've done. And yeah, I'm not a good driver in the slightest. I think we're going to need to go to Price's Tyres or whatever that sign said by the end of this. They get a lot of custom from me once I've destroyed cars, and then I have to send them back to the manufacturer in some condition that resembles stock. Not that it's an easy job for them by any chance, by any means. Oh, yeah, it definitely has a bit of a more difficult job now with this destroyed front end. Oh, come on, round here we go. That was slow, but thankfully it had enough turning angle for it to work just about. I was able to go over that curb smoothly enough. Yeah, now I've got the idea that it can be vicious at times. Most of the time it isn't vicious, but at least now I know I need to take some care with it and maybe not go foot to the floor the entire time. The key car, I couldn't go foot to the floor the entire time even, but most of the time I could just floor it with that and the car would take care of itself because it just didn't have the power for things to go wrong. Even if it was two-wheel drive on 155s as I speak. Oh dear. I mean, the Maori has basically had it by that one kind of moment, I think. Well, I don't know, actually. Having seen that, the bodywork appears to have been resilient enough to maybe mean it can keep on pushing. I will try. I'll try as long as the car is willing. I think the first lap... Did I have an accident? Yes, I did. Third lap, basically, I'm going to see if I can get round the course without an accident. Come on. If you won't get up on the curb, and you won't just turn, then what can I do? It won't seem to get up on any of the curbs. I mean, I'm going lock to lock here in a desperate attempt. Come on. Right, I may have it. I may have the solution. Yeah, this lap is basically doomed. You can probably tell that. Ooh. I managed to get up onto this curb. Maybe I can get up onto that curb too. Why is it? I'm probably just digging myself into a deeper hole, to be entirely honest. No. Wait, I'm on the curb, but facing the wrong way. Oh. Deary me. 2 minutes 14. I think that's quicker than the key car, despite all it's been through. You know? Just trying to dig it out of this ditch it's kind of got itself into. The thing is, I was giving it the best chance on the second lap that I could, and it just bit at the wrong moment. And ultimately, I don't know. I'm going to give it a third lap, because I feel the thing that ultimately... Or am I? I feel like the thing that ultimately destroyed the car was me, but then the car's front end, if I gave it another lap with a complete car, it would kind of be unfair, because the car would be better conditioned than it should be. Yeah, I have to leave it here. It is probably better than my car, but I think my car will win just simply due to the all-wheel drive, which is precisely why I went with all-wheel drive. You can't have 1080 horsepower and put it through the rear wheels. This car does a good job of it, but even so, it eventually reveals that, you know, it's a bit too much power. Anyway, let's see how my car does. maybe it's just too heavy and too slow to beat this. Even on a bad run with it. All of the chrome! Yes, a lovely, lovely chrome. Will that make it win? Probably not, but hey, I do have wide tyres on here. And they are semi-slicks, plus all-wheel drive. And it's a convertible. What more could you possibly want? Well, the wing is slightly cracked and destroyed. What more can I say, eh? Oh, I also need to turn ESC off, so if I go... ESC off, reset. There we go, just to make sure. 2, 1, go. Ooh, it felt a bit more jiggly there. Maybe it is softer. Maybe it is a lot softer. I can't remember what exact suspension I put it on, but I don't think it is supercar suspension, particularly. I don't know. I don't think it's normal if I remember correctly. So maybe a similar key car setup. Yeah. You don't really want city car suspension on your race car, do you? Necessarily. Immediately I can feel the all-wheel drive though and the rear drive layout. It is bouncing about more. This suspension is not the best. However, it doesn't feel vicious at all on me. It feels, oh... Slow it. That was a very close call. And I just go and drive it into the building anyway. Yeah, as I was saying, a very, very close call there to having something properly serious happening to my car. I should have had a manual as well, but I think a dual clutch was quicker. That's probably why I did that. Steering, I would say, feels a bit disordered. It just... All this car feels a bit disorderly driving it in this fashion. It is a luxury car. It's not a sports car even, according to automation. But hey, that's what I'm using it as, because I'm doing that. The Maori did have a luxury interior on it, actually. But it wasn't luxury in the sense this is a convertible with 4 seats. And it's a bit more protective, I would say. Probably a lot more suspension travel. so it will absorb bumps. Or so you would say. You'd assume it absorbs bumps better. The wheels themselves are massive to fit massive brakes, which will stop this massive behemoth coming to a corner. And as you saw back on the first lap, they didn't even do that as well as I would like. So, yeah. All things have limits, let's say. Oh, come on. I do like this car a reasonable amount, although there's no disguising the weight and the softness of it. At least compared to perhaps other vehicles of this power level. Oh dear. I say you can't send 1080 horsepower to the rear wheels, but so far it's been going better than sending it to all four wheels. Ow. Yeah. This camera angle's kind of messing with me. I think when I'm reversing. Oh well, I only messed the back up. I didn't mess up, I don't know, anything properly major. Come on. Sort me out, suspension. Oh dear. I just had to go on the brakes and it somehow recovered itself. Probably thanks to the width of the tyres there. Third lap is all I've got. All the chance I've got to set a properly quick time with this. I think I just have to slow it down. Weird as it sounds, the car can't be properly pushed around this circuit. There's too many tight bends and hills and whatnot to contend with. Well, not hills, technically jumps when you go off the hills the other way. They are what pose a proper threat to this car because it bounces. The Maori also bounced, I guess, but it's just a never-ending problem of driving something like this around here. The key car has a low enough power output to get away with it, and this doesn't. Oh, come on, we're going wide. I think I'm okay. As I said, this should have more suspension travel, so things like that shouldn't be as much of an issue. Although it did sound painful. It sounded like it even snapped the wheel. So, who's to say? Oh, come on. This is the way we go. I don't know. I lost it. I lost control there. And then now I'm going against a curb or something ridiculous. No. I'm going against a pole. Oh, that's painful. That's properly painful. Yeah, it's unlatched though. I'm going to finish this lap since there's not a reason particularly not to. It works. I mean, it's unlikely it's going to be my quickest lap. I have set a new fastest lap, I would say. 1:58, so it's under 2 minutes, but yeah, it's just not the best in the world, and it never will be. How clean was lap 2 though? Did we have any major incidents there? I don't know. I don't think we did. I don't think we had any crashes on lap 2. Or did we have that wall crash? I don't know. Was that lap 1 as well? Hard to say, to be honest. It's a shame because lap 3 was going to be properly good, and I almost rolled it there. Yeah, that's one way the Maori is better. Lower centre of gravity, but seriously, this is just a crazy, crazy vehicle. You must remember that. Much of the way is at the back. Like, it's rear-engined even in order to kind of hopefully have a mid-engined kind of balance, and then a four-seater kind of practicality to an extent. It's not worked as well as I would like though. It doesn't handle like a supercar. It's a luxury car, and although it beat the supercar, it only did so because I'm a complete fool and I don't know how to drive basically, and it has the all-wheel drive protective measures there. If I lowered it and stiffened it, maybe it could be better, but then the hyper category just doesn't like having 4 seats in the slightest. I don't get that particularly. Like, why can't you have a 4-seater hypercar? Probably the weight. Anyway, that's why I went with luxury. So, no, the first lap was a 1:58. The second lap was a 2:04. Oh, now I look at that. So, yeah, it was okay. 512, that's like a amount of RAM as well. Surprising them, that's the specific number it settles on. Anyway, it's under 2 minutes. What more can I say? It's almost no, it's almost 16 seconds quicker than the Maui. I'd say I'm reasonably content with that. You know, it wasn't going to do much better, let's be honest. Seeing the Maui just go, I'm impressed by how quick it is, although it doesn't feel as content with as the Maui did when it comes to actually handling, I will admit, and somehow I finished without a wheel on the front. The Maui did definitely feel more content handling the bends and the curves. And there's my wheel. Let's go and see if we can find it. Hi, guy. Hey there. How are you doing? It's a bit nervous. If I'd been driving, yeah, I can't blame you for being nervous. Oh, it keeps going now. Now I've lifted it onto the correct direction again. I get distracted easily. I think that's quite obvious. I wonder if it would be funny if you could go to the wheel and see how quick it's going. No. Unfortunately, it wouldn't let me see on the car. Yeah, there we go. It's settled down again. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. The Maui, I would say, is the nicer handling car. Mine is probably the nicer riding, more comfortable car in comparison to that. And it's also able to seat more people, and it's also a convertible. So mine, unlike the first two vehicles, actually, it's probably the inverse. The Maui is probably the better track car. Mine is probably the better road car. Whereas before, mine was the complete track monster, and the Maui was the softer road-going supercar. Yeah, interesting how these things can work out, isn't it? Anyway, until next time, I'm going to say, let's look off a balcony for some reason. Ah, where's the fence? Anyway, goodbye, until another day.